Greetings and salutations, good citizens. This is Laz. Welcome to the Fright Club. Today we're doing something a little different today. Today I'm here with my friend Dave from Halloween Year Round, which is an awesome website. Everyone should go check it out. There will be a link down below.
Celebrate Halloween every day.
As well it should be. Halloween should be celebrated year round. You're absolutely correct, good citizen. And what we're going to do now is we're going to discuss the most current Scream that came out a few months ago,
which is confusingly also titled Scream.
Yeah, well, see, here's what happened. Halloween 2018 came out and it kicked a whole bunch of butt. So you know what Hollywood is. Hollywood's like, well, that worked for that.
So they did it for Candyman. That's like the new trend is you do a sequel reboot or like a requel with the same title as the original, but it's actually a sequel.
Yeah, and then well, they'll be using the words that they use in the movie. They'll be using requels. That makes you want to smack a baby.
My term, I've always preferred the term. I call it a soft reboot.
Yeah, that's what I call it usually.
That's sort of and that can also be a sequel, but proceed.
I'll usually call it a why. But you really can't spell that. It's just a lot of and why when it comes to remake.
It's or like even you and like 5 H's.
Yeah. So when it comes to the movie, like it opens pretty well. Like I thought the opening was really well done.
I like the kind of spin on it. I kind of like that she survived it. We've never had that before. That was kind of cool.
I'm kind of no, well, hold on, right there about her surviving it, only because she gets stabbed like 37 times.
So you're saying if they wanted her to survive it, they should it should not have been that brutal. Because exactly. Oh my God, it was.
Oh, it was absolutely brutal, especially when Ghostface stomps in her ankle and everything. I'm sitting in the theater going, "Oh!"
It's funny, like we can all deal with like these gory stabs and intestines spilling out. You snap a bone like that, everybody cringes. Everybody feels it.
Well, it's like in the original Evil Dead. Everyone's getting possessed, getting chopped and whatever, fine. You stab someone in the ankle with a pencil. Everyone can feel that. Everyone's just like, ah. Or my best example is Halloween 2. The original Halloween 2, the good one.
The good one, yes.
Where and again, Michael Myers is stabbing everyone with everything he can find. But the scene I still can't watch this day now is when the mom's taking her kid into the hospital because he bit into something with a razor blade in it, and he has the bloody towel and he drops it, and you see the razor blade sticking on the roof of his mouth, and I'm still
well, that's like medical gore, and I don't know, the Scream movies never really went for that, except for that. And I like that they changed it up a bit. I like that Ghostface is stomping people now.
I like that. I want Ghostface's phone though. I want to be able to clone other people's phone numbers, and I'll somehow able to work their electronic door locker things. I want that.
Yeah, it was very, I don't know. I'm gonna reveal something about myself. I have seen the show Pretty Little Liars, where the mysterious A does stuff like that to the characters. Ghostface was definitely like that in terms of it's like, I guess it gives us hope that like diehard horror fans are capable of like CIA level, encoding and cloning phones. And like, I barely know how to set the calendar on my phone. Like, who can do all that?
Well, not only that, like it took us not long to set up this call, but long enough to the point where, like, yeah, neither one of us could do that. Before we go any further, and I totally forgot to say this during my intro, this discussion is going to be heavy with the spoilers.
Oh yeah.
So if you haven't seen Scream, put a pause on this. Go watch it.
If you haven't seen it, what are you doing? Go see it.
Go see it.
It's really good.
It is. It's a solid until the ending, but I'll get there when we get there.
We'll get to that.
But yeah, like the first kill I thought was really good, or the first attempt to kill anyway. I thought it was really good setup and a really good twist on the original the opening of the original. Like I love that Ghostface was like they made fun of the Babadook.
I love that they with each sequel they kind of incorporate what's big in horror, and the second she said elevated horror, I was like, oh, like they're like half of horror fans will be like, oh, I like elevated horror because it makes me sophisticated, and the other half just cringe when they hear that term.
That's me.
You're in that.
Yeah. I'm
so
the second part. Yeah.
I like quote unquote elevated horror. I hate that it's called that because it implies that regular horror is trash. And
exactly.
it's just all horror.
Yeah, it's all horror. You like what you like. I don't think I've seen any elevated horror that I was like, this is awesome. Not because of any kind of snooty things. It's just, I don't know. To me, I like the blood and the guts. I don't mean gore, but I like the grittiness.
Mm-hmm.
It always feels like elevated horror is a little more.
It's
sanitized.
more artsy. It's it's going more for the critical acclaim. I'm of the mind, why is there not room for both? I like cheesesteaks and I like ice cream. Those are two very different things. So I like your bloody gory slashers over here. I like your A24 horror movies over here. I like both.
Let's see, you're all around kind of guy. I'm not, apparently. So yeah, so after that, then we meet our heroine, whose name I am totally blanking on. Wait, hold on. I'm gonna get myself.
It's Melissa something. I think that's the actress's name.
Well, that doesn't help me. Hold on.
No, so
IMDb.
So like half of the people in movies I talk about, half the people I refer to by the character name, and then the other half I refer to by their actor name.
Okay. His name is Sam. Because I have IMDb right in front of me.
Sam, played by Melissa Barrera. I knew there was a Melissa in there.
It is in there, yes.
So Sam is her sister, and they've been estranged.
Yes, they've been estranged, and you don't quite know why in the beginning, but that gets you revealed kind of quickly. Like within, as soon as Sam finds out, oh, my sister was stabbed. Come on, boyfriend, let's leave this 7-Eleven where we're working at, and let's just go. And I'm sitting there going, don't you have to quit first? Don't you have to tell your manager, hey, we're out?
That's how movies work. You can just up and leave any job and it'll be fine, Man,
I want that job.
Don Draper disappeared from his job in Mad Men for like months and they brought him back.
This is true. This is very true. So yeah, so they go to I was about to say Englewood, and I know it's not right. Where is Scream set? Oh,
it's on the tip of my tongue. Woodsboro.
Thank you. I got the wood part right anyway.
I wanted to call it Springwood. And I'm like, no, that's Freddy Krueger, the Springwood slasher. Woodsboro. And it's a town that is kind of, it's affected a bit by its past. There's like a weariness that I think maybe wasn't there in Scream 4.
Yeah, well, no one cares about Scream 4. Let's be honest now.
Unpopular opinion. That's my least favorite Scream movie.
It's a tie between that and 3.
3 is at least so out there. It's entertaining. It's not good, but I'm entertained by it.
3 for me. 3 was I was enjoying it until Jay and Silent Bob showed up.
Oh my God.
And I was like, what universe is this in now? This makes no sense.
So that means that technically the Scream movies are in the Viewers universe.
Yeah.
The same universe as Dogma, Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back. That just like, it blows the mind. The revelations there. Which
also means, by the way, that since Wes Craven played the Janitor Part 1, and he was Wes Craven in Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back, that means he became a janitor in Scream.
That means that in universe, Jay and Silent Bob were on the set of a Scream movie, but Scream exists in the. I think I just broke my brain. I think I just went to like Inception levels of confusion.
And but when it comes back to this movie, you got, so they go to the hospital where chick who got stabbed is. I'm not going to do character names because I'm terrible at this.
Chick who got, I like, just refer to as chick who got stabbed.
Chick who got stabbed.
Just chick who, played by Jenna Ortega, who I really liked in the Netflix show You.
Okay, I'll have to check that out. So she's in the hospital, and then our heroine's all like, hey friends, hey friendos of Stabby Girl.
I just call them Gen Z because I'm at the point now that the teenage, like, oh, I'm the old guy now.
Yeah, me too.
I used to relate more to the teens. Now I relate more to like Dewey and Sydney. Like they've been through this before.
Yeah, and people should just listen to them. So we meet the cast of characters. We meet chick who got stabbed, stalker, love interest, friend. Like it's kind of
all of the above. They're friends, and he likes her, and she doesn't like him. And
well, I meant the overprotective girl. Like they kind of play that like, oh, they could be a thing, they could not be a thing.
And then of course Randy Meek's niece and nephew, the twins, who his niece kind of fulfills that Randy role as like the expert, because you always need one character who's the expert.
None of that. You need one character who's full of exposition.
That's how Scream works. You know, Randy did it, and then they had Hayden Panettiere do it in Scream 4, and now they have. What better way to do it than have it be a character who's related to the original Randy?
No, it's fair, and I like the actress who played her. The chick, the brother, I don't think really had a personality, at least to me. He was just kind of there.
You could have removed him. I don't think it would have made a difference.
No, and then you got his girlfriend, random chick number 7. I don't know.
Random.
She's just there.
I love your character names. That's like the best way.
But again, she doesn't. Like, she could be. She could not be there, and it wouldn't.
I got a part in the new Scream movie. What's your character's name? Random chick number 7. Random brother character. Yeah. And of course, chick who got stabbed. Yes.
Who will later on become I'm going to date myself with this reference, but she's going to become Lady Ironside.
Okay. Yes.
Yeah, I dated myself, but look at the beard. I'm old. So, okay. So you introduce everybody. You find an overprotective chick, doesn't like Sam. Goes, oh, she's gonna hurt her again. She just left. Oh, well, drama.
She's been the one who's been there for her in her absence. As for the reason why she left, that's a little. You said you took issue with the ending. How to say this? I really liked that they got Steve Ulrich back for this one with like the CGI de-aging for like her hallucinations. That said, I'm not the biggest fan of retcons like that. We're like, oh, actually, he had a kid.
Yeah, I was sitting there going, when? When did he have time?
In between, I guess, killing Maureen Prescott and then the first movie. But even then, their mom was never like, hey, Sydney, watch out dating this guy. He's the reason I'm pregnant, or like something like that.
Yeah. So, and they never say who the mom is, which that makes me happy. And what I'm saying is they never say something like, oh, she's related to Sydney.
Yeah, that would have been it. It was a stretch. That said, I love that Skeet Ulrich was in it. He's awesome, and he and Matthew Lillard are just. It's almost like they're too popular from this. I mean, you've seen it at the convention. Their lines all the time, and they're two of the coolest people. But it's like you killed them off. If you wanted to do this as a whole franchise, you shouldn't have killed them in the first one. It's like they were too good.
Yeah, well, Wes Craver 101 is never plan a franchise.
Then he should have.
He tried with Shocker, and it didn't happen.
But he should have known that even if you don't plan a franchise, the studio is planning one with or without you, as he saw twice.
Yeah, it's true.
And I almost think maybe the reason he stuck around with Scream, I mean, this is the first Scream movie he didn't direct. And maybe it's because he saw what happened to Nightmare and was like, you know what? If the studio's going to roll ahead with these anyway, I might as well be the one doing them.
Yeah. Get some of that sweet, sweet cash. And also, he created the characters to a degree, so I'd want to see them through myself.
And that's how you avoid Scream ever turning into a Freddy's Dead, the final nightmare type situation.
There is nothing wrong with that movie. Well, actually, that's a lie.
There's a lot wrong with that movie. I want to see Ghostface with a power glove killing Pete.
But it's also a sentimental favorite of mine, so I can't talk too much crap about it. Although it's not a good movie.
It's a fun, like I was saying about Scream 3. Scream 3 is not a good movie. It is a fun movie. Freddy's Dead I am entertained when I watch it.
Yeah, no. I laugh every single time.
It's hilarious.
It's hilarious. So let's see here. So you get the reveal that Billy Loomis is Sam's papa, and that she found out in a journal because apparently her mom kept all these journals where she had an illicit affair.
Well, that's the first thing you do when you have an illicit affair is you keep a journal about it with details.
Yeah, well, as you do, as people would, I would assume, especially with graphic details. And she comes up and goes, and she's like, "Ma," she's yelling at her mom, "Hey, you had bad nanny hoo-hoo time with this guy, and my dad's not my dad," and the dad's behind her. I'm like, I want to see that on film.
Like that's something that should have been handled by Maury Povich. Is who should have dealt with that on television.
As she's laying it out, I'm like, I've seen this in General Hospital. I know how this is going to go. I've seen this episode. Matter of fact, the only thing they needed was a twin coming out, and then that's General Hospital right there for you.
That and I died, but I didn't really die.
Exactly. So then you get this, and she's telling her sister, and her sister's and chick who got stabs all, "I don't like you now. Get out." And I'm like, you were just stabbed like 14 times. Don't get mouthy.
You would think that she would, like, I know there's issues with her sister, but you would think that like facing death would make her want to reconnect.
No, that she should still be on morphine.
Maybe that's why she freaked out. Well, yeah, they could be. And then we finally get our first legacy character coming back when Sam and 7-Eleven boyfriend / we'll get to later go to visit Dewey. And I gotta tell you, I felt for Dewey.
Yeah, this is the first. I'm not a giant fan of David Arquette as an actor or a former WCW world champion, but in this movie he carried it. In this movie he brought it. Dewey wasn't funny. Like he wasn't the random butt of the joke.
He was sad. He was, and I can't, like, as I'm watching him and Courtney Cox, like so much of that has got to mirror real life for them. Cause I mean, they met on the first one, they got married, and then like, I think it was when they, like before the fourth one even came out, they announced they were separating. And then that's kind of the same trajectory their characters took.
Yeah. Yeah. I felt bad because I was like, can't this dude get a break? Just one. And you find out like he's no longer a cop.
He was asked to retire.
Which
and he's just, and the fact that he's still watching Gail on like the morning news.
Yeah, which just shows you how much he still misses her, which I thought that was sweet.
But it ultimately, I don't think they worked as a couple. The characters, I'm not, obviously I can't speak to the actors, I don't know them, but Gail was always too ambitious.
Yeah. Yeah, and just speaking as a dude, Gail was way out of Dewey's price range.
I believe the term is league.
Potato.
Price range suggests he's paying for services.
Well, no. Okay, fine. She's way out of his coverage zone. Is that better?
His coverage, okay.
But yeah, so then the kids show up. They're like, oh, by the way, Ghostface is back. And Dewey's like, oh, son of a biscuit.
He's like, again?
I'm stuck in a sequel again. And then they're like, we need help. He's like, no. Get off my lawn.
There's the obligatory, no, I'm not going to help you. And then immediately followed by, okay, I'll help you.
Well, first he's got to text, or he's got to call Sydney, so we get Nev Campbell showing on up. And
who is surprisingly not in this very much.
No. I was actually, the Trinity aren't in this very much, really.
They're not, and I think it's ultimately, I think that's a good thing. I think one of the issues that Scream 4 had was it had the new characters. You know, it had like Emma Roberts and her friends and the older legacy characters. And I felt like Scream 4 didn't really know which one to focus on. This one made the conscious choice. We are going the sequel reboot route. We're going to focus on the new people, but still have the old ones there as support.
Yeah.
And I think it worked better
that way
because of that active choice it made.
And I will say this, I don't know what Nev Campbell's doing, but she doesn't age.
No, she like whatever's working for her. I've have you met her at the Monster Mania before? I didn't remember if you did. She always had the really long line.
Yeah. No, line was too big, but like I saw her in person just kind of walking around. And again, I was like, how it's her and Barbara Crampton. I want to know what they're doing. If they're bathing in the blood of virgins or something.
Maybe. I do love when you just have the random run. It's like, I peed at a urinal next to Kane Hodder there once. That is my greatest claim to fame.
I rode in an elevator with Keith David.
I've wanted to meet him.
He's so cool.
The one I went to, he canceled last minute. There was like a big car crash in LA and it shut down the highway and a bunch of the celebrities missed their flight and they didn't make it to the convention that year. And he was one of them.
That's a shame because he was such a cool dude.
Yeah, I really wanted, I love the thing. I wanted to meet, I love him in everything he's in. And I've wanted to meet him for a very long time. But anyways,
that was tangent number 4. If you guys are playing at home,
we're keeping track.
Okay, so where were we? Oh yeah, so Dewey says no. Oh, by the way, I'm driving. So they go to not Randy's place.
His sister.
Well, I just meant the characters, not the Randys. They get there, and his random sister from part 3. And I say random because it's like one of those. He has a sister who we don't know about until now.
It was never talked about.
And I think they're like, well, we need to get Randy back somehow. Okay.
And that's how they.
So she comes up in part 4, which I thought, at least in this one, So I thought that was a nice touch.
Yeah, I did like how it connected back. I like not just her, but Deputy Hicks, who is now Sheriff Hicks from Part 4. Like I said, I didn't care for Part 4 as much, but I thought it was cool that they brought her back. That whole sequence, holy shit.
Oh yeah. Well, we'll get to that. We'll get to
we'll get to that.
We'll get the sequel. We get the scene with Sheriff Chick from Planet Terror. But like this sequence, like you get the whole information dump of what a requel is and what's going down and how people who don't like Star Wars are bad. And Roddy. And I'm sitting there in the theater going, can we fast forward past this, please?
No, I liked how it, I thought it called out toxic fans, but it was also like people have a reason to be pissed off because they're literally just repackaging the same thing and giving it a shiny new coat and telling you it's something new.
Yeah. See, again, I just remember the one bit, but you're right. They do hit both sides.
But,
then you get the whole, she knows what she's talking about. So we're going to listen to everything she says about not trusting anybody. And they do this whole thing. And I'm just like, this isn't a movie you're in. This is real life to you. This right here doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Like, I know Dewey's like, okay, it's probably one of you guys who are the killers, which makes perfect sense because he's been through this before. But at the same time, it could also be some random prick from Highway 37.
Yeah, real serial killers tend to, they tell you if you're going to be a serial killer, not that I'm advocating that you should, but if you're going to be, killing people is a very bad idea because eventually you're the link between all of them. So that's the takeaway here. If you're going to be a serial killer, kill people you don't know. Hashtag not legal advice.
Yeah. Hashtag the more you know.
The more you know.
But it's just one of those things where, I don't know, this scene, like I liked it, but it kind of took me out a little bit. Only because it's the one thing about the entire Scream franchise I never dug was the tongue-in-cheek meta stuff. Like it's in spurts, but
that's its bread and butter though. Like it thrives on how self-aware it is.
Yeah, like I think it worked really well in the first one, but in subsequent sequels, it kind of just to me fell flat. But I've always said Scream isn't my franchise.
I think it's always tried to outdo its predecessor. So it's always had how can we be more meta? How can we take it further? And to your point, I think sometimes it does go too far with it to the point that it gets too far-fetched for its own good.
But again, I think we missed the guy who played Flash from Smallville getting killed. The random dude at the bar.
Oh yeah, that was kind of a random scene. Why was that even there?
Well, you find out why he was killed because he was connected somehow to this weird, I don't know, this weird thing with, I don't know. To me, it's like, okay, he went through Indeed and then dated someone over there who's connected to this somehow. I forget exactly how it went, but the kill was kind of cool.
It was cool, but just it makes you wonder, like, don't ever be connected to any, like, so sorry, guy who delivered DoorDash to Sidney Prescott. You're on the hit list now because you're connected.
Because I remember when they announced this, my roommate and I were like, okay, how is this going to be connected to Sydney this time? Like who else did her mother have sex with? Who else is just running around? Because it's always she was always the connective tissue. Not in this movie really, but which I liked. I like the fact that she wasn't.
That they didn't pull one more connection out of their asses. It's just,
Which I was like, okay, that's good. So yeah, so we forgot to talk about that. It wasn't like a giant sequence, but when it comes to kills, I enjoyed it. Let's see here. What the hell happens after the big information dump? Stop yawning.
It's so
I saw
fun.
that.
Fun fact, yawning is contagious because of empathy. So if someone yawns and the other person has zero response, chances are they might be a sociopath.
That's good to know.
The more you know.
Da, 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 da. Okay, so what the hell happens after that sequence?
I think it's the Deputy Hicks one, because that's when they kind of
That's
split
right.
up.
Yeah, that's when they split. Yeah, because Sam's like, I'm going. Cause they're like, we don't trust you, Sam. Get out. And Sam's like, I'm going this way, without 7-Eleven boyfriend.
Which in hindsight was a good idea.
In hindsight, yes.
In the moment, terrible mistake.
Well, in the moment, it's like, this is the mistake everyone makes in every horror movie ever made. So thank you, cliche number 27.
Seriously, what I feel like there's got to be a Scream movie where they have the exposition dump scene and it ends with all of them saying, okay, no one is leaving this house. We're all staying here. Everyone's going to be armed and we're just going to wait it out till the killer shows up and kill him.
Or the killer's already here. Hey, we're all armed. So this is when the Ghostface calls Deputy Chick from Planet Terror,
and
like, hey.
her son, 13 Reasons Why. That's just all I'm going to call him.
Okay. See, it's a reference. I didn't know he was in that. So awesome, works. So he's like, hey, Deputy Lady, your son's home in a shower. He. I'm going to stab him. And she's like, no, and drives across town. Very tense sequence. I know it doesn't sound the way I'm describing it, but very tense sequence.
No, it is, because you think, like, they set you up to think they're gonna like gender swap the Psycho thing, and like they set that up, and then they do this instead, and you don't see it coming.
Yeah. Well, and not only that, but this sequence is jump scare setup and no payoff. Because you keep getting I'm opening the door.
Mm-hmm.
And then the music is like, nah. Then they close it and Ghostface is right there, and they kept doing it. And I was sitting there going, okay.
In that moment in the theater, everyone like put down their drinks and their popcorn because they didn't want to throw it. So they're like, okay, just wait to take a sip until it happens. Wait until the jump happens to take a bite, or we'll end up choking on it.
Yeah, and then the jump never comes, and then sheriff gets there, and then spoiler alert, she dies.
He's like waiting at her front porch, and did you catch when she leaves to go out? She tells her son there's lemon squares in the fridge, and then Scream 4 she baked lemon squares for Dewey. And Gail was like, oh, you're using those to try to sleep with him? Like they did a callback where she made her son lemon square, and then no one got to enjoy them because they both died.
Yeah. Hey, spoiler alert.
We already gave the spoiler alert.
I mean, sorry, I was thinking of another death happening that happens later. So Ghostface kills the sheriff in broad daylight, and no one, there are no witnesses.
Yeah, that was bold of him. Like that costume sticks out like a sore thumb in the middle of the afternoon.
And not only that, in the middle of the day, there's no one there. I'm like, it's the emptiest town in history.
And she's the sheriff. Like,
and she's the sheriff, yeah. So she gets stabbed. And I can't remember I think sun goes down too, right?
Yeah, that's it. So then remember he knocks on the door. And then
that's right, and there's a bang, yeah.
Because they make you think they're gonna kill him in the shower, but then they subvert it, they kill the mom on the front porch, and then he comes down. He survives the shower, so at least he died very clean, is all I can say.
His mom would have been proud of him. He had clean underwear.
Mm-hmm.
Which I don't know why that was a thing, but it was. Could still be a thing. I don't know. So he goes down. And then Sam's all, if I remember this correctly, this is where we get to the hospital.
That scene.
Yeah. Well, it made me happy.
It made me happy from a story perspective because they finally had the balls to actually go and do it, which is like they didn't in Screams 3 or 4.
or even 2.
Well, they got Randy, but your core 3
Core 3, yeah.
stayed intact. But damn, was like Dewey's a hero.
Yeah, man. Yeah, like although it was funny because if he just went in the elevator and didn't go back to try to shoot Ghostface in the head, he would have been fine.
Or the fact that it's Gail calling him.
Yeah.
That does it. And I don't know that she ever knew that. And if she did, I think she would feel like the worst person on the planet.
Yeah. Yeah. Because it was just like, you got your guy. You got him killed in a brutal way, too. Like, it wasn't regular, it wasn't just a regular stabbing. It was
like the whole of the.
He got unzippered.
It resembled what the samurai would do with seppuku.
Yes. Well,
it went down that territory.
It reminded me of a line from Macbeth where it was he unseamed him from the nave to the chops, which is basically what happened.
That's the perfect way to describe it.
That's right, ladies and gentlemen. I went from Scream to Shakespeare. I'm multifaceted. Thank you so much.
I kind of want to see a horror movie written in Shakespearean tongue now. I'd watch it.
Yeah, I was about to say Romeo and Juliet, but that's not a horror movie. But it's in the horror section.
It counts.
And I love that movie to pieces. Anywho, so you get that big oh no moment, but even before that, like the entire sequence of Ironside with Ironside being chased by Ghostface, because she's intelligent. I was like, oh well, wait, hold on, like well, first she was on her own floor and she was being protected, but then that's what got Sam there. That's right, because she sees the guy who was like the cop who was supposed to be watching over her sister, and he's not there. He's now where the sheriff was. He's like, but the sheriff got killed. Where am I supposed to go?
He was as useful as any cop in any horror movie ever is.
This is true.
That's very true. That's just what they are.
And then, but that again, that entire cat and mouse sequence, I really liked.
Probably one of the strongest ones that had the when they killed Sheriff Hicks. That was probably one of the biggest like visceral payoffs with the jump scare and the way they subverted it. The Dewey death in the hospital was probably the biggest emotional moment of it, because that's a character that, like, I gasped. Like, that's a character we've watched since the beginning. And to see him finally get it was, like I said, I was glad they had the balls to go for it, but it was like at great cost.
I was happy because it won me $10.
Oh, you made a bet? Did you bet that they would kill one of the, or did you specifically bet on Dewey?
Dewey. Well, because it was my roommate and I were talking about it, and I was like, you know what? I think one of the three, one of the Scream Trinity is going down. And he thought it was going to be Gale. And I was like, no, you know what? Looking at the trailers, especially the one sequence where Gale is just screaming, it's Dewey.
Yeah.
Dewey's dying. And he's like, I bet you. I was like, all right. So I got $10.
He wasn't featured that much in the trailer either.
Exactly. But I've been called a walking spoiler before, so I guess things kind of quickly. But it was it was a great sequence. It might be my favorite sequence in the entire movie.
Yeah, I would say that, especially compared to the final sequence,
which
I think we at least have to get to the beginning of the party, because then it's after that. Is it after that Sydney finally shows up, and then sister
she shows up right after Dewey dies. No, before Dewey dies. She
and
shows
that's
up because Dewey sees her in the airport or whatever, I think.
mhm.
No, that's
And
Gail.
then Sam and her sister chick who got stabbed, they were like, we've learned our lesson, get out of Woodsboro. And that's after Dewey has died. And it pains me that you never get the reunion of the big three, that you have scenes with Gale and Dewey, and then Dewey dies, and then you get Gale and Sidney, but you never get all three of them together.
Yes. Well, they went Star Wars in that case.
Which that bothered me too. But that's a whole other rant.
That's a whole other video. But and somehow Sydney lowjacks their car. And I'm like,
she's Sydney.
Okay, Batman.
In her defense, now after all that Sydney has been through, I'd be surprised if she didn't do stuff like that.
Well, I just meant, how do you get a tracking device? Do they sell those at Walmart now?
I mean, you could get like I'm sure if I went on Amazon, I could get some sort of like GPS thing, not like a subtle, but like something that I could like, I don't know, stick under or like toss in the trunk or, something.
Probably. All I can think of is when we post this, if anyone watches, read comments, they're like, it's this, it's that, it's this, you idiots. And I'm going to sit there. Yes, you're right.
You are. I mean, again, this is a world where people can just willy-nilly clone cell phones and hack into people's home security. So putting a LoJack on a car is actually pretty low tech compared to that.
It's true. It's true. So they go and of course Ironside's like, I have asthma. I left my inhaler at Randy's place, or not Randy, Randy's niece's place, whatever.
At Stu's, where that's another. So randomly, the one friend lives in Stu's old house.
Yeah.
Which I get it was cool to go back there, but it felt like a very forced, contrived thing.
Yeah, but the reveal was worth it. Not at least when Sydney's all like, you live in Stewie's house, whatever, and they do that pull out and you see it. You see like the layout for the first time.
That was pretty cool. And that's actually, you can go, that house is on Airbnb. I would love, if I was ever in that house, and I think for a time the mansion from American Horror Story were on Airbnb, and it's like, if I lived in California.
Yeah. Shoot, I'm like, all right, is the Myers home going to be an Airbnb? Because I'll go there too.
No, that I've stayed at if you go up to southern Massachusetts, the Lizzie Borden house is an Airbnb. I've stayed there before. It's creepy.
I would think so, but the party's going, and I won't lie to you, I went to the bathroom twice, so I missed a few sequences. So I missed, because I know Randy's, I guess would be nephew, is all with his girlfriend, and he pisses her off because he says, he thinks she's the killer.
She wants to pull him upstairs to
yes, to some hanky panky.
Mm-hmm. But rightfully, that was an example of him thinking with the big head instead of the little head. He's like, you know what?
Yeah.
I don't know for sure you're not the killer. But then ironically, it's him pissing her off with that causes him to chase her outside and then get killed.
Oh, he does get killed. Okay.
He does.
I missed that entire sequence. It's
from following her outside.
Damn, I got to go back and watch it because I always miss that sequence.
There's the whole thing with the cell phone where he's like tracking. Apparently there's a way you can track your phone with your friends. It's like find your friends. That's a thing that I've been told. I don't know. I don't want people knowing where I am. So I don't know why.
I barely want a cell phone for that reason.
Yeah. So it's a cool sequence as far as given everything that has happened at this point, this movie has a harder time justifying why its characters are partying other than the fact that they're supposed to be kids who are dumb. And that's what they would do in this scenario. But I feel like it worked better in the original because there was like a townwide curfew, and it was like, oh, we're all just gonna hunker down, you know, in this house.
Yeah, and this one, it's basically, oh, our friend died, we're partying, even though there's still a killer out there. And now there's a bunch of people here who aren't part of our circle of friends. So it's just okay. But then you get the whole sequence between Randy's niece and girlfriend chick,
where they think it's like, who's the killer?
Yeah. And this movie just chucks out more red herrings than a fisherman on Sunday. It's just red herring, red herring, red herring, red herring, red herring. I'm sitting there ducking. I'm going, no, stop it. No.
So I will say this. I went into this movie knowing who the killers were.
How dare you?
And I'm upset about it.
Yeah, I would be too, honestly.
Because I literally, so I saw it opening night, the Thursday night, like the Thursday night preview. I saw it that night. That morning, I open up Facebook, and some jackass literally it's in it's like a Facebook horror group I'm in. Some jackass just writes, in the new Scream, the killers are this character and this character.
Wow.
And I saw it, and I'm like, I really hope that it's just someone joking around or something. But then when I'm watching the movie later that night, and those characters are introduced, the boyfriend and the random friend chick who didn't really get that much screen time before that.
Yeah.
She was kind of the least developed one. I was aware, like, oh, that's what the post said. I hope it's wrong, but I'm looking at them very closely now. And I wish I could have gone into it not knowing that. But in that hindsight, it's really obvious it's the boyfriend.
Yeah. Yeah. I went into it blind, but I'm sitting there watching it going, okay, it's you and random chicko who's very, very overprotective. I don't know, in my head, I'm like, you don't make sense. And you're very intense. And the way she was playing with 7-Eleven boyfriend, like with the whole Netflix thing, I'm like, that's a couple.
Yeah, which is kind of, if you think about it, that might be a situation Chris Hansen has to get involved in, because she's in high school. Cool. And he's clearly, like, the sister is older, and he's probably a couple years older than her. When he came to that house, instead of Sydney and Gail, it should have been Chris Hansen saying, "Why don't you have a seat right over here?" So I've been. Are these your Reddit chat threads? Did you say this?
No.
What are you doing here?
Well, I was just going to kill people, but oh no.
I'm just being stupid, I guess.
Yes. But man, the brain fart. What the hell was I about to say? You threw me off of Chris Hansen.
Sorry. So you said you took issue with the ending.
Oh God, yes. Because the moment they reveal it, because okay.
So your issue was with more so who the killers were, or just like how it ends once they're revealed?
The motive.
Just
the motive behind it felt like Hollywood. Felt like Hollywood itself saying, "How dare you not like our movies? How dare you, toxic fan, say something bad about Star Wars, about Ghostbusters 2016, about Ocean's 12, or whatever. How dare you? Since you talk bad about us, since you go on YouTube, and few of them have more viewers than people who watch these movies, we're gonna make you our killers." See, you're evil.
You're the bad one. You're the reason for all the. I mean, yeah, to a certain extent. Like I said, I feel like it does go after. It goes after both sides, but to have the killers just be like devoted toxic fans. That said, I think we all have met someone who we think maybe could go that far with something.
Yeah, maybe. And
They're in the minority, but tell me, you've met, at Monster Mania or the other conventions. There's for the most part, like really cool, devoted, interesting people who all share, a love and a passion for something. But there's some weird ones too.
Yeah, no, you always find the random weird dude or lady, but that's not what I mean. My issue is it felt so heavy-handed. It felt so forced. It felt so contrived.
Because of who it was coming, like it was coming from this studio movie.
Yes,
that's a good point. I don't think I looked at it like that, but that's.
I mean, I won't lie to you. My eyes rolled so far they flew out of my head in the theater. I had a hunt for them for a while because I was really enjoying the movie. I was digging it. Again, Scream's not one of my favorite franchises. Like I wasn't even going to watch it really, but because I don't watch horror movies in theaters because I hate people.
I can relate to that.
Well, I go to it on a Tuesday in the afternoon. I'm like, okay, good. There's gonna be no kids in here. It's a Tuesday afternoon. I was wrong.
Who's bringing their kid to it?
Nobody. They had no adult with them.
Oh my God. They didn't kick him out?
No. So I'm already angry. And then,
oh my God.
And then someone brings a baby in.
Oh my God.
The movie starts, and then the baby's not crying. Maybe baby didn't cry, but baby started getting talkative. And I could hear the baby more than I could hear the dialogue.
What kind of parent is like, I'm saying this as someone, I have two young children, a toddler and a baby. And as much a horror fan as I am, that would just be dumb. Like I wouldn't think to bring the baby to see. And the only thing I can think of is okay, I get it. You couldn't get a sitter, but then that means you don't go. That's the price you like. That's your kid. You can't find a sitter. You don't get to go. Sure, it'd be fun to go, but not. I heard a baby crying in the theater when I saw one of the Purge movies. And so if normally I would have told you that's so crazy. I don't believe that. It happened to me too. It happened to me too.
So I was lucky enough to be able to switch my theater.
Oh, that's good.
Show. But then I was stuck with people who were just talking throughout the entire movie, and I wanted to stab them in the eyes. I didn't because I didn't have anything sharp.
Well, then you could have been the killer in the movie and motivated by people not shutting up in the movie theater. That's going to be the next one.
That's a motivation I can understand.
But just the idea, I get what you're saying. That it's so I looked at it more of what the message was. But if you're looking at who's saying it, yeah, there's definitely some kind of heavy-handed about oh, you don't like this? Well, this is what you get.
And particularly since I hate the term toxic fans, and I always have, because that to me feels one-sided. I get what it is, and I've met toxic fans. I watch professional wrestling, and right now you got WWE versus AEW, and fans of both. I'm just sitting there like, could I just watch wrestling, please? All I want to do is just watch wrestling. And even Last Jedi fans. And by the way, I always say this: if you like that movie, more power to you. I don't care. But I have met people online who are just, you don't like that? You're a istophobe. And I was called, and I swear this is true. I was called an ist. I'm not going to say what, but I was called an ist by someone who knows me on Facebook because I didn't like The Last Jedi. And I'm like, that's kind of strong. I didn't like a movie.
I think there's a lot of assumptions in there. And I think that part of the reason is to use a phrase, it is because you do have those extreme toxic fans who are very extreme on on that spectrum of fandom, it's almost like they ruin it for the people who don't like a movie for other reasons, where like they complain about a movie for those ist reasons, and they are actually that thing. But then what they do is, because they're so loud, they make it seem like anyone who says they don't like it gets lumped in with them.
Yeah, no, that's
And
fair.
they deserve the blame for that. And I think that, the killers in this, they're definitely meant to represent that. I think anyone who's ever been on Reddit would not be surprised for someone to come at it with a killer. or Twitter. You talk about toxicity. Go on Twitter.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Twitter's just, to me, Twitter is just fun. I don't post anything. I'll just read and go.
I mean, I love it. I love it for promoting. It's great for promoting Halloween year round. I use it for those purposes, but like, to the people who like get into the back and forth, oh my God.
Yeah, no, I become that meme of Michael Jackson eating popcorn in a griller. I'm just watching going, dance, puppets dance.
So anyways, tangent number 8.
Yeah, basically. For those of us who are playing at home, pretty soon you'll hit tangent bingo. But but when they revealed the killers, like, I knew who they were, but I didn't like random chick being one of the killers. Only for one specific reason.
Why is that?
At no point was Ghostface small. So unless she had lifts in her shoes and extra padding, Ghostface was never small.
I mean, you kind of see that. I get what you're saying, and you do kind of see a little bit of that with even Jill, Emma Roberts in Scream 4, where Ghostface in the scenes is obviously being played by a stunt person.
Yeah.
And the body type of that stunt person does not necessarily match Emma Roberts or the killer in this one, whose name escapes me currently, but
I can look it up. I like random chick better.
So I definitely get that, and I do wish that they were a little more consistent with that. Like if you're gonna, it would even be cool, like, just to go that extra mile, if like you got two stunts, so you have the two killers, and then you got stunt people who had similar heights and body types to do those scenes. So it's believable that, oh, that kill was done by this one. And, if you have, if you have a tall athletic guy, you get a stunt person who's a tall athletic guy. If one of the killers is a teenage girl who's, kind of thin and medium height, you get a stunt person who's kind of got that similar build.
Yeah, and my thing is, I understand not doing it because you want to keep the mystery going, but at the same time, if you have a diverse cast, and this cast was diverse, you had ladies, you had dudes, so I would think it would have been better if you had one stunt man that's clearly, okay, you're clearly a dude. The other one, all right, you're clearly a lady, or at least smaller.
Because then it's like, which two is it?
Yeah. So then you're like, oh, which two could it be?
Which at this point, it has to be 2. I think the only one that didn't do that was 3.
Yeah.
It was just Roman
Polanski. No, it's Roman.
That's the whole other.
Yeah, but man, I hate that reveal to this day. I still say that movie cheated.
Oh, the third one.
Yeah, because I'm like,
again with the retcons. Oh, you actually had a brother. Oh, in this one, Billy Loomis, you actually had a daughter.
The daughter. But speaking of Loomis and his daughter, I loved her taking out the chick and just going whole hog, slasher, Just I'm going to stab you 57 times.
When they involved the stove, that was
Yes. Yeah.
that was awesome.
No,
Like
she stabs the dude. She stabs the boyfriend. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
That's
Gail kills the girl when she's like, "Oh, Dewey died like a pussy," and it's like,
Yeah.
how dare you say that?
Yeah,
You're gonna die for in the words of Thor in Infinity War. You're going to die for that.
and Gail, oh yeah, that whole thing. Because I remember because she's like, oh, she's covered in wine. I'm like, they're gonna cook her now.
Oh yeah.
You know, like, and boom, good. And that was brutal too, because she's running around. But
like I said, it went all out. I think that I was hesitant about this when obviously it's the first one without Wes Craven, and it's like, how do you do Scream without him? And the guys who did it, the directors, were the same ones who made Ready or Not, which was one of my favorite horror movies of the last few years. Absolutely love that movie. And when I heard they were doing, I'm like, you know what? It's got a chance. And all things considered, you know, yeah, there were things I had issues with, but overall, I liked more of it than I didn't like.
Yeah, like I'm not gonna say I won't see this again, because I will. Because again, I liked 95% of the movie. Just at the ending, I was just like, however, it was well made, competently done. Some really good sequences, and not an overabundance of jump scares, which I like.
Just enough, and the ones they did they earned them.
Yes, yeah, they earned them. It wasn't like an Insidious movie or Conjuring number 37.
As much as I love those movies,
poo scare. I'm like,
they lean on them a bit heavily, more so the spin-offs.
Yeah, I don't know. The last Conjuring where the chick becomes Jean Grey from the X-Men.
The last Conjuring basically felt like one of the spin-offs because James Wan didn't do it.
It was not good.
It was on par with the spin-offs.
So hey, tangent number 9. Okay.
So
but a short tangent.
Semi wrap it up.
Yeah. So all in all, like, yeah, I would give this like 8 out of 10 star wise.
I'm reluctant to give movies stars because then I feel like I'm tied to like an objective rating system.
Use whatever you like. That's the first thing that popped in my head.
I will say I really enjoyed it. And while I did have it, there's very few movies I don't have some sort of, I didn't like this. And then like overall, I think it was a net positive. And in a weird way, it almost nullifies Scream 4's need to exist because it does the reboot better.
Yeah, no, I could see that. I can see that. All right, kids. I believe it is time for us to wrap up. I got things to do, and I believe Dave wants to get up and stand and walk around for a little bit.
I do. I have killing to do.
Yeah, I have not that.
Because I'm a toxic fan.
Yeah. Well, as am I, but I have to plan things first. And plus, I have to read a book written by you. Which reminds me, I'll leave those links too.
I gotta write another one.
Are your books available on Amazon, good citizen?
They are still on Amazon, yes. We can put a link down there. And I promise I've got like 3 ideas for the third one. And it's just a matter of getting around to
pick the one in the middle.
Getting as to which it's 3 very different ideas for 3 very different stories, and it's just picking which one to go with. But we'll get to that. So thank you for watching.
Yes, I thank everyone for watching. I thank my entire club for sitting down with us. And until next time, same last channel. I want to thank Dave from Halloween Year Round once again. Catch you on the flip side.